Hey, what's up, cats and kittens, and shout out to all my Cerebralites. It is me, the Cerebral Diva, and I'm back with another episode of RealiTEA, and that's TEA because I give it to you scalding hot. So grab your cups, grab your saucers, gather around, and let's all partake in this libation of RealiTEA. But before you go another further, do yourself a favor, and while you're at it, please do me a solid. Take a second, hit that subscribe button, and once you've done that, take another second to hit that tiny little bell so you can turn on your notifications, and that way you'll be kept in the loop. So I just finished watching Love and Hip Hop Season 6 Atlanta Reunion, and I don't even know what to say. I'm at a loss for words, but I'm going to try to give you guys some semblance of a review. So, first of all, everyone on the show looked really good. I'm trying to think, with the exception of a few, there were a few people who made some questionable style choices, but that's neither here nor there. I thought Mimi looked beautiful. I'm not lovely Mimi. I'm talking about Mimi. I thought she looked really beautiful. I thought Tommy's hairstyle was a little interesting. It was kind of a mixture of geisha meets Dora the Explorer. Dime, had her pink hair, which she typically does, so there was nothing out of the ordinary about that. So I said I didn't like Carly Red's hair either. I thought Carly Red, whatever they were doing with her hair and makeup, aged her, and I know she's a little bit older, but I thought tonight she actually looked older. So wasn't a fan of what they did with her either. But overall, I think aesthetically everyone looked really nice, with the exception, I think. But as far as hair go, Young Jock slayed everybody for hair. This pompadour thing that he's doing is just. It's, you know what, even though I'm not a fan of the style in particular, I appreciate a person who colors outside the lines. And so for that, I'm going to give him a thumbs up for the hairstyle. Even though I'm not a fan of it necessarily, I do like the individuality of it. So moving on from Young Jock. So everyone pretty much showed up tonight with the exception of Jocelyn. And those of you who are active on social media pretty much knew that she wasn't going to show up on the show because it's already been all over social media. She's actually feuding with Mona Scott, so that was no big surprise that she didn't show up on the show. And I think, believe it or not, I think Jocelyn is probably the smartest person on this cast. And I'll tell you why. Most of these people, Love and Hip Hop is probably as good as it will get for them. This is it. When this show ends, they will fade into obscurity. We'll never hear from them again. And unfortunately, the same is probably true for Jocelyn. Jocelyn really doesn't have a talent that I can point out of any significance that is going to sort of carry her forward in the long run. However, I think by moving on from the show while she's still hot may give her the opportunity for a great windfall someplace else. Because look at a person like Megyn Kelly, right? Megyn Kelly and Jocelyn is no Megyn Kelly. But Megyn Kelly left Fox News for NBC. NBC, based off of her following on Fox News, got rid of Tamron Hall and gave her a $17.5 million payday just because her name was Megyn Kelly. And now that she's on NBC, her ratings are tanking. She's not getting the ratings that they thought she was going to get, but they're already $17.5 million invested. So Jocelyn, while I don't think she has the personality, I don't really think that she's really that interesting by herself. I think she definitely needs an ensemble cast to really sort of temper her mania. Someone else is probably going to see Jocelyn as a cash cow, give her a bunch of money. The show's not going to do well, but at the end of the day, she walks away with $3 or $4 million. Hey, she won. So I think that for her to leave while she's still hot is going to give her some bargaining power moving forward if she does choose to be a part of another reality show, because she's going to bring in the cachet of Jocelyn from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. So I think that she's really smart to move forward at this point and really leverage her celebrity in a way that's going to get her hopefully a big cash windfall. So Jocelyn didn't show up. I'm trying to think of who else. Oh, Tammy and Waka weren't there. And Jasmine didn't show up because Rasheeda didn't want her on the show. So much of tonight's reunion centered around the drama between Kirk and Rasheeda. Now, I know a lot of you people out there feel sorry for Rasheeda, and a lot of people are team Rasheeda. I'm not. I'm not. And I know that sounds cold. I know that sounds callous. But I'm sorry. Kirk has been showing us on the continuum exactly who he is. And so for her to sit here on this show and cry crocodile tears and talk up, and this is one of the things that really frustrated me tonight. So Kirk and Rasheeda are going back and forth about this alleged love child that Kirk has with Jasmine. And Rasheeda didn't want to appear on the show with Jasmine because she felt like Jasmine had somehow undermined her as a woman. But my thing is, Jasmine never took a vow to you before God. Kirk did that. And if you can sit on the stage with him, if you can have a conversation with him, and if you can look him in the eye, why are you vilifying this girl who didn't have any sort of obligation to you, but for somehow, in some way, you're able to look past Kurt's indiscretions? I don't understand women like that. That blows my mind that you always blame the other woman when it's the man that you're dealing with. And the sad thing is, believe it or not, Rasheeda will take Kirk back again. She'll take Kirk back again. I don't care what anyone says. The only way that Kirk and Rasheeda are going to break up is if Kirk walks away, because at this point she's proven herself to be weak, to not have a backbone, to not be able to stand up for herself. There is no possible way. No possible way. I don't care how many kids I had with him. I don't care how long we've been together. A man would be able to embarrass me on the level that Kirk has embarrassed Rasheeda, and I would be sitting across the stage from him. We have nothing to say. Anything that we have to say will be said through our attorneys. You can talk to your kids, you can have a relationship with them, but I got things to do. I got people to see. I have dates to go on. I have a life to live, because I gave you the opportunity multiple times, and clearly you don't value that opportunity, so it's time for me to go. But every single time Rasheeda, and maybe it's a southern thing, sometimes I'm so appreciative of the fact that I grew up in the north, because sometimes I think that a lot of times in the south, sometimes this whole southern belle thing, and a lot of women feel like men are the head of the household, and this, that, and the third. And I guess I can play that role to a point, but at some point logic just has to kick in and rule over all of this, traditional, conventional family values things, where you start to say to yourself, well, look, if he doesn't give a fuck about me, I can't give a fuck about him. I mean, that's just common sense at some point, because there's no possible way, if Rasheeda had children by a different dude, that Kirk would be sitting across the stage from her crying, talking about, well, we're going to work through things, and, I still want to see her child. I want her child to be a part of, my children's lives. Kirk would not. Men have zero tolerance for infidelity. Zero tolerance, especially if their friends or family find out that this woman has cheated on them. Their pride is too strong for them to forgive a woman. And I think women need to adopt some of that. You need to sometimes get a little bit of testosterone in you and be like, fuck no, I'm not doing that. Like, you disrespected me on a level that is completely unforgivable. And having a child out of wedlock is not something that I see as, something as simple as finding a phone number in a guy's phone. Okay, we can work through that. But you brought a life into the world, and this Kirk and Rasheeda thing to me, first of all, there's no possible way that I can exploit something like this on TV. I wouldn't be able to do it. And so, to me, the fact that you're willing to capitalize on it on a reality television show sort of undermines the seriousness of it. And so, I know, like I said before, a lot of people probably expect, for me to be team Rasheeda because she's a woman. But no, I'm team smart. I'm team intelligent. I'm team self-advancement. Like, you have to look out for self. When you know that your partner is not looking out for you, it's your job to do it for yourself. And clearly Rasheeda is not with the man who really has her best interest, because at the end of the day, instead of being mad at Jasmine, she should probably be thanking Jasmine, for finally bringing the level of his infidelity, his indiscretions to life, and B, thanking her for not giving him a sexually transmitted disease, because a baby is actually a blessing to some degree if you stop to think about it. She could have had HIV or herpes, or who knows. There's a lot of things that could have happened as a result of him sleeping with her unprotected that didn't happen. So, while people try to make Jasmine out to be this villain, I really don't see her as the villain in this scenario. I see Kirk as the villain, and I see Rasheeda as the one who feeds the beast. You know that this man is no good, and you continue to stay with him. So I'm completely over it, to be completely frank with you. So she's on stage, she's crying, and Kirk's sort of giving these half-assed apologies. And then they asked him, not only did he sleep with Jasmine, but did he sleep with the other girl? I can't think of her name. And once again, he gave some sort of half-hearted lie. And everyone in the room knows that he's lying. And I'm assuming that Rasheeda would know that he's lying. But once again, she wants to play the dummy and says, well, I would hope that he wouldn't do this. What do you mean you would hope? This is a man who just had a baby out of wedlock. And you mean to tell me you're still giving him the benefit of the doubt? He doesn't care. He will sleep with anything. So, and when I heard her say that, I'm like, you know what? She hasn't learned. She hasn't learned. At this point, I think that she's complicit in her own subjugation. She likes it to some degree. And if being a masochist is your thing, if you enjoy pain, if you enjoy being hurt, look, if that's your judge, if that's how you get down, far be it for me to judge you. But don't sit on TV crying to us, all these crocodile tears about how you're hurt and how he's wronged you in some way, shape, or form, when you're giving him the tools to continue to hurt and harm you. So moving on from Kirk and Rasheeda, let's talk about Tommy. I feel like the producers at some point need to take Tommy off the show. Tommy is I'm sorry, you guys. Give me just 1 second here. Tommy is a danger to everyone on the cast. Like, I don't know, is it just me? But to me, she seemed like she was not lucid, like she was under the influence of drugs or alcohol. There's something sort of slow and lethargic about the way that she speaks that makes me question, like, did she just, do a line or no? Because if she did a line, she would probably be a lot more exuberant than she appears. But I don't know. There's just something very sort of slow-mo about the way that she talks and speaks, and then the level of anger and violence and rage that's in her. I think that the producers have a lawsuit waiting to happen, because at some point I think she's going to cross the line and hurt someone in a way that security is not able to circumvent. I think that they definitely need to take this woman off the show and get her some help, because I don't know, like sometimes when I watch shows like Love and Hip Hop, I feel like it's funny to a degree, but I also feel like they're exploiting people who don't know any better. Tommy's in a very dark place, and that type of person who exists in that sort of darkness will hurt someone for real, because she sort of has this I don't have anything to lose disposition, which is good for TV to a certain degree, but it's not good if she doesn't realize that there is a threshold that you do not cross. And I don't think that, like, I feel like if she had a knife at her disposal, she would probably use it. I'm sorry, she just seems unstable to me. So she's on the show and she's going back and forth with pretty much Jessica Dime, I believe that she was going back and forth with about, and Carly Red. And when you watch her talk, it's just like, I don't know, like, I'm not a person who's easily intimidated, but I would definitely be using my conceal and carry around this girl, because I'm not about to fight her. I'm just going to shoot her and just wait for the consequences that happen as a result of that. But I'm not about to play with her because she's unstable. So I think the producers need to get this girl off of this show before something drastic happens. And I think it's only a matter of time before she hurts someone on the show or hurts herself to the point where, the producers are going to be forced to act. So that was that. And then, of course, we had the drama between Mariah, Sierra, and Shooter. And once again, this is sort of Kirk and Rasheeda 2.0. Like, girl, have you not been watching the same show that we've been watching? Do you not understand how this ends? Do you not realize a leopard doesn't change its spot? Like, I don't understand. I mean, I try not to judge, and I definitely try to stay out of people's relationships. But when you put your relationship on social media, when you put your relationship on a reality TV show, then it becomes public fodder. So I'm going to give you my opinion of this relationship. Like, if I have a business of my own, if I have the mental capacity to continue to run this business on my own, the business acumen to run this business on my own. What do I need a man? What do I need him for? What do I need him for? So at this point, I'm the hot commodity. I can have my pick and choose of any man that I want. So why would I continue to put myself in a position with a man who disrespects me and has absolutely no regard for my emotional health and well-being? I just couldn't do it. So if if Sierra hasn't learned from Mimi, Rasheeda, and the countless other women on reality TV shows about exactly how this works out, then I don't know. At this point, I feel like you get what you deserve. If once you know who a man is, you can't unknow that. I'm sure all of you have heard the adage, when people show you who they are, believe them. And like now your eyes are wide open, so you can't pretend, oh my God, I can't believe he would do that. So 2 seasons from now, when Shooter is having children out of wedlock, we don't want to see you on stage crying, because you already saw how there was already a precursor to exactly how this story ends, and you chose to ignore it. So at this point, whatever happens moving forward, you're complicit. You've chosen to be a part of it. So anyhow, you guys, that's pretty much it for this Love and Hip Hop Atlanta reunion. I don't know, I'm just sort of over it. Like I said before, I don't know if I'm just outgrowing it or what the deal is, but I used to really be into it, but every season it's the same thing. A bunch of ignorance, a bunch of ratchetness, a bunch of fighting. And for me, like, I didn't even need to watch the entire season. All I needed to do was watch the reunion and get a synopsis of exactly what I did not miss. So I'm not sure how long they can carry the show. I think it's time for... I just want to see something, I don't know, some TV that shows people of color being more productive other than fighting. Like, why can't we see the ins and outs of Sierra running her business? Why can't we see, the ins and outs of people trying to grow and do things to progress? All we see is fighting and infidelity, and, it's just, for me, it's too much. It's enough of that. We have enough of that. So anyhow, you guys, and that concludes this episode. So remember to like, comment, subscribe, and please share if you feel so inclined. Remember to follow me across all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. Also remember, it is better to be pissed off than it is to be pissed on. And it's always, in closing, people, remember to live better, love harder, and think smarter. It is me, the Cerebral Diva. I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day, and as always, thank you for listening.